Well, oh my goodness. Look at you. Oh my gosh. Hey, is it cold there too?
It's freezing. To me, it's only 50s, but I am very cold.
Yeah, it's only 50s here in Raleigh, North Kakalaki as well, but I feel cold. Where are you?
I'm in New Jersey and I do a lot, I do a lot of traveling. So I am headed back to DC next week and I'll do a few weeks in Maine um, to kind of like chill out a little bit for the holidays.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, well, I'm a big fan of New Jersey. My beloved wife is from New Jersey and her folks
Good
live there.
choice. Good
Good
choice.
choice. I think so. I think so. We've been together now for nearly 30 years. Yeah,
Wow.
pretty awesome.
Very
Mm,
beautiful.
yeah. Well, Sazha, welcome to No Thanks But Yes. This podcast is a hobby and it's a bunch of fun. But what I discovered is there's a lot of people across the country who have resolved a chaotic relationship with alcohol or other drugs. And they've gone on to thrive, to create, to help others come get them some too. And I want to tell those stories and I want to show off those friends of mine in a laid back, chatty kind of way.
I love it. I first started following your work, I think off Twitter. I saw that you were a veteran and you had your social work degree, and um, I think it's really important to continue to share the stories of people that are not only like recovering, but like thriving and in many different ways, whatever that means to them. So I appreciate you for just hosting the space.
Yeah, I remember your reaching out and I had been following you as well because you're a voice for veterans, a voice for recovery supportive housing, a voice for equitable support for LGBTQIA plus folk. And so I felt we were kindred spirits. So I was delighted that you reached out and we've just kind of been chatting ever since.
We have.
Yeah, just chatting it up. Okay.
Yeah.
So this first of all, do you identify as a person in recovery or as a person who has overcome a chaos?
I do. It's so funny. I don't really go to recovery meetings anymore, but I definitely am within a lot of communities and a lot of spiritual communities, a lot of recovery communities. But I don't. It's so funny. Like when you just live it and you just do it, like you forget. I forget to say those words. Like I am, an addict. I'm a person in recovery. It's like all around me all the time, so it just like
Yeah.
goes across my head.
Yeah, I had a conversation with someone yesterday. Just I'm just living, you know, because we
Mhm.
had talked about the term recover out loud. And he was like, yeah, that's what I'm doing. But really, I'm just living out loud. And, so cool.
Yeah, that I love that. Like, because there's a yogic teaching related to that as well, is that you don't necessarily have to say XYZ, but you can show up and you can show people like how you're just being happy or how you've
Mm,
navigated through stuff. And for me, it breaks down a lot of the barriers because again, I work with many different people and most of them are not people with addictions anymore. Like, ask me that 2, 3 years ago, is dealing and working with people with like chaotic addictions and severe
mm,
addictions, life and death threatening addictions. And now these days they're a little more subtle.
absolutely. Absolutely. For sure. So you mentioned yoga, and that's one of the
Yes.
really groovy things that you do. I guess both in personal practice and in providing practice, helping other folks to come get them some holistic wellness. Tell me more about that because I've just touched the surface of yoga. I think I've done it twice on Zoom, and yeah.
Well, we're gonna have to talk about that when you came to my class, but I'll tell you. more. So I practice Kundalini Yoga, and Kundalini Yoga is the yoga of awareness. And many yogic traditions believe in the chakra systems, and based on the chakra systems, you have this innate, superhuman, powerful, I call it a battery pack. Some people call it like this energy at the base of the spine called your root chakra, in your root chakra, called the Kundalini. And if you Google, like online, you Google Kundalini awakenings, and a lot of people are just like, is Kundalini awakening dangerous? No. When you have when you have a when you have a daily practice, right, you allow for this energy to unfold in your body mind system. So a lot of people ask me like, Sasha, how do you do so many things and you're all over the place? And I'm just like, I truly deeply believe that I've tapped into this energetic system that many people have, and they just don't know how to navigate it. So,
Mm,
Kundalini Yoga involves mantra, meditation, movement, and really a lot of just more breathing and sitting versus a type of Hatha Yoga where like it almost feels like more of a workout.
mm. Excellent. I actually, when you began speaking of the root chakra, during the session I went to, it that resonated with me, and I was attempting to access, to awaken, um, and it made sense. So
Yeah.
why I have not
So
pursued it more, I do not know.
well, you can come anytime. So the root chakras, there's a lot there based on safety and security. And for many of us with addictions and humans just in general, right? Like there has been somewhere we have felt threatened for our own safety and our security. Our need for comfort and our need to be protected is are just human nature.
Mm,
So when we get to the root of it, like the root cause, like a lot of root, in my opinion, a lot of issues, they come from that thing of not being able to feel safe or feel seen. So when we get to the root chakra and we do some healing there, many things can happen.
that makes sense. That makes sense. So some guided perseverance, to continue that work. Well, I'll
Mhm.
reconnect with you. Yeah, it I'll check it out, and we'll encourage folks to come check it out as well and see all the
Well, I'm
cool stuff that you're
curious.
doing.
I'm curious for you. I know you came that one time. Like, how was it for, like, what did you feel like for you, or how is it different from the other yoga, or did you experience anything where you were like, oh wow, like I really like this, or no, I don't really like this?
I liked it because it felt like it had deeper meaning, that it was intentional, and that it was personally meaningful, in that, when you kind of roll up on something that is potentially a solution to a mystery, and maybe I should come get me more of this. It differentiates itself from the other yoga, and that the other one felt like something that I truly needed, which was flexibility and exercise, in this sedentary digital environment that I live in. But the Kundalini also felt like exercise. It was exertion and flexibility, but it just felt like it had intention and purpose, and it was meaningful. Why I did not come back, your discussion around fear resonates with me, and something to take a look at for sure.
Yeah, it's you didn't come into a beginner class, I'll tell you.
You told me that after. I was like,
You did come into a beginner class, and it's really cool because they say that Kundalini Yoga finds you, you don't find Kundalini Yoga, right? And that's the power of it. So it's always there for you. And that experience could have been the only experience you needed to open yourself up or to heal something or let go of something. And I've had clients that come and in 3 minutes they're just sobbing because we get to the root of something and they don't even realize the tension that they're holding, the pain that they're holding. Just, and it's right under the surface of our whatever's going on with us.
excellent. Well, hopefully this will pique some interest in folks, because I know that uh, we have a shared despair, and often these despairs we're experiencing have roots, and pursue those roots where I think addiction, in my instance, has not been a process of addressing the roots, but you know, pruning the leaves.
The roots go deep for sure. I would definitely say that every time I always learn something new, not even just in my practice, but in my recovery too. I think that's something that's been really helpful is like at any given moment, I can change my minds because I'm willing to learn something new. And I know we were just talking about remaining teachable. So,
Yeah, we were in another conversation.
yes.
Yep. So important. I look back on myself. I think I've been working in this space now coming up on 12 years, but just looking at myself 10 years ago, if I had not been teachable, I would be a harmful knucklehead still. But yeah. Well, speaking of professional trajectories, et cetera, and you mentioned we share that we're both veterans. I'm proud of my naval service, as brief as it was. I served for 6 years back during the Cold War in Desert Storm. Actually, I got out 30 years ago this month. I've been reflecting
Wow.
on that. Yep. So you share with us a little bit about your veteran self.
Yes, and thank you. Thank you for your service as
Oh,
well. So
yeah.
I got out actually 10 years yesterday in 2011. So it's so kismet. And I also had a brief time in the service from 2008 to 2011.
Mm.
And I was signed up to do 4 years. My job in the service was IT, so information technology. I know it's really funny. I look back and I'm just like, really, me, IT? But my other options were a yeoman, which is administrative, which I
Mhm.
actually didn't mind doing administrative stuff. But I chose IT because there was a sign-on bonus. I believe it was like
Yep.
$5,000 a sign-on bonus, which is very, very enticing at the young age of 18 years old.
Yep.
Um,
Indeed.
so I would say that the military was my first treatment. And I didn't realize that until I was working with a sponsor, and she had said that to me like when I was like 6 years sober, which was just last year. Um, she was like, "The military was your first type of treatment." I was like, "Oh yeah,
Oh,
institution, right?" You
yes.
know, and through the military, I found purpose. I found connection. I
Mhm.
found a reason to want to be alive. I think a lot of my teenage years, I felt really bored. And I didn't really have a trajectory for myself. Like, I'm just like, what am I going to do? I don't see anything for myself. I don't get excited about anything else.
Mm.
So when I had a bit, it's so funny because people don't think of the military as freedom, but for me, it was because it gave me financial
Yeah.
stability. It gave me a reason to travel, gave me a reason to leave my home and learn something new and a bigger purpose. So
Yeah.
at those times, it did give me freedom, and it also gave me a reprieve from using substances, which I was already doing as a teenager.
Yeah.
So
I can relate with that, the freedom piece. I was 18-year-old coming out of rural Western North Carolina, not college bound. So it was definitely freedom for sure, and gave me purpose as well. Nice. I hadn't reflected on that for a minute.
I know it's like there's something about wearing a uniform every day, shining your shoes and putting up your hair. And even though like a lot of people don't do this, it's the simplicity in it for me, and that I don't have to
Yes.
think about what I'm gonna wear or things that I'm gonna do or how people are gonna look at me. It's just like I know what I have to do and I know what I have to look like and I
Yep.
know my standards.
Yes. Yeah. I still keep my gig line straight for sure.
I I hope you do.
That's funny. Folks will be Googling gig line. Yeah, I commented on some fellow's gig line the other day. And
Did you?
yeah.
I'm still making my bed like I'm sleeping in a bunk, and my chief is gonna come look at my look at my look at my bed
Well, that
and
that
how I folded it.
that wore off much to my wife's chagrin. She knows what a Jedi bathroom cleaner I used to be in my seaman days, and
Yep.
yeah,
Yep.
the field day me is gone. So
You know what's so funny, and my family laughs about this all the time, is that in my teenage years, I used to hate cleaning the bathroom. Like it was my job in the house, and I hated it. And guess what I had to do when I went to
yes,
boot camp? Cleaned a lot of freaking bathrooms.
that's right. That's right. I was an expert at cleaning heads and stripping and waxing decks for
Hmm.
sure.
Hmm.
And we just don't do that anymore. Now we got hardwoods. What do you do with that? Okay, so thank you. That was a lovely trip down the amnesia lane there. I loved it. So let's talk about what you're passionate about. One of the things, I mean, you're passionate about so many things, and when I talk with folks and we try to create these compartments and of this is my recovery, this is what I do professionally, this is what I do for fun. I'm discovering more and more seamlessness, but still the presence of self-care. And we're not obsessed mostly, but we talk on this show about what folks do for fun. What do you do to get down? What do you do to party? What do you do to play? What do you do to enjoy this journey in recovery, this living out loud? It's not a veil of tears. It's a blast, and I enjoy watching you live out loud on social media. It's been a blast.
Thank you. I want to say that everything I do, at the very least, I enjoy. And that's one of the reasons why I have the energy to do what I'm doing. Because, like, I spent so much time when I was using in these places of like just really like deep despair and just not knowing and not living my life, like just staring at a ceiling wall and smoking cigarettes in a
Mm,
bathroom,
mm,
like, and to me, like, that's not living life, that was wasting life, right? And
yes.
I truly believe like this life force is a God-given force, so I'm going to use it like to the best that I can. And a lot of my recovery has been, there's been pieces of it that I will remember, because I have a lot of people that have died because of not only addiction but mental health,
Yes.
and they come to like very close together. So I I that's why I live my life, because we don't know when it's going to happen, especially right now what's going on in the world with the virus, the shutdowns, people not being able to see each other, like, so like I literally get it like wherever I can, and I need to, because I have to. I think you understand this.
I'm feeling you.
Yeah.
I'm feeling you. I enjoy everything I do, or I do everything that I enjoy, and this is wonderful. This business of sucking the marrow out of life, of making your life extraordinary. That's your overarching uh, ethos, and it's very inspiring. What are some of the things that you do?
Yeah, so what the latest thing that I have just done is I created this platform called the Breathe Network. And the Breathe Network does not exist on Facebook, but it exists on Mighty Network. So, I'm not the biggest fan of Facebook, but I do use it so people can see what's going on. I really like this idea of shifting where we're putting our attention to. So, Mighty Network, are you familiar with it?
No, I'm not.
It's a network, that supports community. So you know how like we have all those Facebook groups on Facebook?
Yes.
it's like on Mighty Network, you can create the same type of thing. And there's a host, and you can host events, you can host videos, and pretty much all my teachings. So everything that I've learned and everything that I practice, I share on Mighty Network now. So you might not see me on Facebook as much. And I'd love to share with you the link because it's
Please.
complimentary. Yeah, it's complimentary. I share a breathwork practice on Thursdays at 9 a.m. And then again, my yoga practice on Tuesdays at 7 p.m. And it's just another place for people to like have community. And again, the focus is not recovery, but my recovery comes through my work and my teachings. And there are a host of other teachers there who teach healing and who teach connection.
Oh, I'm excited because something new and something I need. And you said Muddy Network?
Mighty.
Mighty. I
Yeah,
was like,
Mighty
is she
Network.
saying money or muddy? I'm such a
Mighty
knucklehead.
Network, and my network is called the Breathe Network.
The Breathe
Um,
Network.
yeah, and there's all these different kinds of like groups you can follow within Mighty Network, and so
Yeah.
the Breathe Network is essentially like in one breath you can begin again. So at any time when you're ready to transform, you just come join us.
I just did. Well, thank you for sharing that. I'm gonna check it out for sure, and I hope that folks watching this and hanging on our every word will come get them some too. Um, I have a question for you, and
Please.
lots of folks feel put on the spot at this point, but they end up just rolling it on out, and it's fire. But more pressure.
Keep it
um,
coming. Keep it coming.
keep it coming. Yeah, ask folks, there's millions of listeners. I'm doing my Jedi hand thing. Millions of listeners. What's a message that you would like to share with folks who are listening?
Um, this is my teacher's message, who just passed in on October 1st. She was young, and she is my mentor and my teacher. And she would always say to folks that you can befriend your mind and you can become friends with that voice in your head. And it's a practice that I continue to do daily, and it requires me to definitely pray, but also like be really, really, really kind to myself. And that's something new that it still feels new after 7 years. Like it still feels new for me to be kind to myself. And I'm reminded even more so by the people and the community around me. So when someone tells you they love you, like they love you.
Oh man, I felt that, and I thank you. Be kind to yourself, and
Mhm,
and love, power of love.
mhm.
Well, I love you, Sasha. I think you're splendid. I really do.
Thank you
And
so much.
so,
It's
anything coming up that you want to shoot out there that just come see you on the Mighty Network?
definitely come see me on the Mighty Network, and just some science behind the breath, right? So
Please.
so the vagus nerve is the nerve. Are you familiar with the vagus nerve?
Yes, I am.
Yeah, so the vagus nerve is the nerve that can hold the tension of our bad experiences, our traumas. And when we release the vagus nerve, we can release tension and we can go into deeper relaxation. And I didn't access my vagus nerve until like 3 or 4 years into my recovery, but like I had a very deeply healing experience. So any kind of breath work, such as breathing long and deep, can help relax, but also chanting, singing, laughing, and also like just moving your throat like this can be very, 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 very helpful for anyone just working on some stuff.
Yeah. Well, I do a lot of singing and laughing. I do. And I would like to do more chanting, but breathing has become very important to me. in my recovery. Part of my recovery from substance use is not having, full control over my emotional expression or my emotional reaction. Part of my recovery from mental disorders has been, the compulsive responses to things. And I have found nothing more powerful than breathing to stop me from doing regrettable things. And it's been good practice.
My partner will be like, why are you breathing like that? I'm like, because I don't want to say something that I'm going to regret.
Facts. Facts. They will come to appreciate that, though. They will come to appreciate
Yeah.
that, though. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, would you rather me just be deep inhaling or do you want me to say something mean? Right. And it's the nature of the mind, right? Like, we can be friends with that part of ourselves and laugh at it. But if you don't know how to stop it, then, it's going to be a different story.
Oh man, so great advice for folks in early recovery and sustained recovery. Folks just living this mighty trudge that is life. Breathe and be kind to yourself.
Mm.
Well, it's been a treat. It has been a treat, and I hope to see you again super, super soon.
Thanks, Donald.